Understanding the active nakshatras, Krittika. In Vedic astrology, active nakshatras signify dynamism, precision, and the power to initiate transformative action. Krittika, ruled by the sun and symbolized by a blade or flame, is the purifier, cutting through falsehood with clarity, burning away distractions with intensity. It energizes any planet placed within it, demanding discipline, truth, and impactful expression. When planets fall in Krittika, especially in houses connected to skill, education, beliefs, and career, they take on a focused, reformative tone. Third house, skills, talent, communication, core expression, precision, courage under pressure, technical mastery, verbal directness. Sun in Krittika grants willpower in learning and leadership through communication. This placement sharpens articulation, producing orators, policymakers, or educators who influence through structured thought and fearless truth-telling. Mars in Krittika makes the hands weapons of precision, ideal for surgery, combat sports, mechanics, or high-level craftsmanship. It gives assertiveness, a tactical mindset, and the urge to prove skill through decisive action. Mercury in Krittika drives fast thinking, acerbic wit, and technical communication. These natives excel in scripting, editing, system design, analytics, or critical journalism. Anywhere, precision of language is power. Talent themes: surgical skill, martial arts, engineering, logic-based writing, strategic speech. Shadow side: harsh words, impatient learning, rivalries with peers or siblings, burnout from proving competence. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, bold expression, structured creativity, disciplined intellect. Sun or Jupiter in Krittika, fifth. Channels moral intelligence and clarity into educational or artistic pursuits. These natives teach, lead, or perform with a sense of duty and a sharp sense of justice. Their creativity is not chaotic. It is refined, principled, and purpose-driven. Venus in Krittika here finds beauty in structure. These individuals may use art to challenge social norms, express sacred ideas, or advocate for transformation. They are equally inclined toward classical, spiritual, or politically charged creative forms. Talent themes: sacred education, disciplined creativity, mantra, fire ritual arts, political drama. Shadow side: creative rigidity, controlling attitude towards students or children, emotional coldness in learning environments. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: spiritual rigor, ideological clarity, institutional reform. Sun or Saturn in Krittika, ninth, marks a reformer of thought. These individuals question inherited beliefs and aim to replace them with systems that are ethically sound and intellectually consistent. They are drawn to Vedic knowledge, legal codes, and institutional wisdom. Mars in Krittika brings militant scholarship and conviction. These natives excel in the defense of sacred traditions or philosophical integrity. Their faith must stand trial, and they often emerge as its enforcers or recreators. Talent themes: Vedic law, spiritual architecture, ritual purity, religious reform, teaching ancient truths. Shadow side: dogmatism, harsh judgment, moral superiority, emotional detachment from personal belief systems. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution, core expression, visible discipline, reformative leadership, precision-based service. Sun in Krittika, 10th, projects moral authority and structured command in public life. The native is called to lead through ethics and vision, often in governance, law, education, or transformative policy. Saturn or Mercury in Krittika aligns the career with systems and reform. The individual may work in healing, public accountability, finance, or technical education, delivering results through careful execution and critical planning. Talent themes: law, administrative reform, surgical leadership, technical systems, public instruction. Shadow side: excessive control, rigid professional boundaries, alienation from peers, fear of error or public flaw. Understanding the active nakshatras, Ashlesha, ruled by Mercury and symbolized by a coiled serpent, is a nakshatra of internal power, psychological depth, and hypnotic intensity. As an active nakshatra, it doesn't charge forward recklessly. Instead, it moves with coiled precision, strategic cunning, and emotional manipulation when necessary. Planets in Ashlesha bring a sharp perceptiveness and psychological influence, often acting beneath the surface. When placed in key houses like the 3rd, 5th, 9th, and 10th, the native becomes a strategist, healer, or reformer, skilled in subtle warfare, energetic transmutation, and deep insight. 3rd house: skills, talent, core expression. hypnotic speech, emotional manipulation, deep analysis, strategic courage. Sun in Ashlesha third makes communication an act of power. Speech becomes authoritative, infused with emotional undercurrents that affect others deeply. The native may use their voice in roles of persuasion, subtle influence, or psychological leadership. Mars in Ashlesha produces a calculating strategist. Action is never impulsive. It is designed to penetrate or defend. These individuals make excellent martial artists, crisis responders, or tacticians who use both physical and psychological edge. Mercury in Ashlesha creates word magicians, counselors, marketers, speechwriters, or occult writers who communicate with coded depth and subtlety. Speech can both heal and poison, depending on intention. Talent themes: hypnosis, psychological strategy, intuitive communication, healing through voice. Shadow side: gossip, manipulative speech, strategic deception, jealousy toward peers. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: psychological creativity, inner storytelling, emotionally charged intellect. Sun or Jupiter in Ashlesha, fifth, produces deep thinkers who learn through emotional experience and psychic attunement. Their creative intelligence has a mystical or therapeutic quality, often expressed through storytelling, drama, or occult education. Venus in Ashlesha makes the native magnetically creative. Their romantic and artistic style is hypnotic, emotionally charged, and often healing or tantric in nature. Their performance is subtle, seductive, and emotionally revealing. Talent themes: occult literature, mystical storytelling, psychological drama, intuitive teaching. Shadow side: emotional manipulation and creative expression, difficulty trusting students or children, creative secrecy. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, esoteric knowledge, spiritual secrets, karmic philosophy, subtle faith. Sun or Saturn in Ashlesha, ninth, directs belief toward hidden systems, sacred secrets, and psychological depth. These natives may become occult scholars, tantric reformers, or spiritual researchers who do not follow the mainstream path but seek ancient truths beneath the surface. Mars in Ashlesha here ignites fierce loyalty to one's guru, lineage, or esoteric path. The native may challenge or reform spiritual traditions, often guarding sacred teachings with intense protectiveness. Talent themes: Tantra, mysticism, sacred psychology, healing scriptures, hidden ritual practices. Shadow side: suspicion in spiritual circles, karmic entanglements with gurus, emotional rejection of orthodoxy. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: subtle power, psychological leadership, healing professions, strategic visibility. Sun in Ashlesha, 10th, offers influence that is felt more than seen. These individuals often rise through complex systems, behind-the-scenes roles, or crisis management paths. Their leadership is emotionally intelligent and dangerous to oppose. Saturn or Mercury in Ashlesha turns the public life into a mission of discipline, subtle mastery, and karmic healing. They may work in law, medicine, intelligence, or emotional healing, especially where power must be managed ethically. Talent themes: psychotherapy, crisis management, energetic healing, confidential leadership, intelligence roles. Shadow side: workplace secrecy, hidden enemies, emotional control issues in leadership, over-attachment to recognition through control. Understanding the active nakshatras. Magha. Magha, ruled by Ketu and symbolized by the royal throne, is an active nakshatra that channels ancestral power, dignity, and natural leadership. Its action is rooted in legacy and fueled by loyalty to tradition, honor, and unseen lineage. Planets placed in Magha energize one's drive to lead, influence, and uphold systems of authority. As an active nakshatra, it produces individuals who rise through their ability to command, preserve, and reform institutions. In the 3rd, 5th, 9th, and 10th houses, Magha awakens a karmic call to lead through knowledge, service, or heritage. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: commanding voice, strategic intelligence, loyalty to legacy, regal communication. Sun in Magha brings a powerful, persuasive voice that conveys authority. These individuals speak with weight, often influencing through legacy-based storytelling, tradition, or moral persuasion. Their communication style can feel kingly, measured, confident, and impactful. Mars in Magha sharpens the urge to act with honor. These individuals engage in competition to defend legacy or elevate family reputation. Physical skills are tied to pride, Common paths include law enforcement, athletic competition, or military leadership. Mercury in Maga gives structured speech, often flavored by ancestral references or traditional ideas. These natives may serve as orators, scriptwriters, or diplomats, especially in matters related to family honor or institutional reform. Talent themes: ancestral storytelling, debate, political speech, martial arts, ceremonial writing. Shadow side: arrogance in speech, conflict over status, entitlement-driven talent displays. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: regal creativity, ancestral learning, honorable self-expression. Sun or Jupiter in Maga, fifth, infuses creative output with a sense of pride and purpose. These individuals shine in roles that combine education with legacy, be it traditional arts, public performance, or classical teaching systems. Their ideas often carry an ancestral weight. Venus in Maga creates theatrical, dramatic, and opulent creative tastes. These natives may produce or perform with grandeur, often in cultural preservation or spiritual performance. They love ceremony, sacred storytelling, and visual richness. Talent themes: traditional theater, public speaking, ceremonial leadership, education with honor. Shadow side: ego-driven creativity, obsession with recognition, difficulty accepting new styles of learning. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, ancestral dharma, spiritual authority, protector of tradition. Sun or Saturn in Maga ninth forms a karmic bridge between ancestral duty and modern belief. These individuals may feel responsible for preserving or redefining cultural or religious legacies. They thrive in roles as priests, spiritual administrators, or custodians of sacred texts. Mars in Maga brings fierce protection of spiritual values. These natives may challenge dogma not to rebel, but to restore order or defend truth as they see it. Their zeal is inherited and often expressed through travel, teaching, or ritual leadership. Talent themes: Vedic studies, cultural philosophy, religious law, temple service, priesthood. Shadow side: moral rigidity, spiritual pride, conflict with New Age beliefs, alienation due to orthodox mindset. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: public authority, structured leadership, legacy-based professionalism. Sun in Ma 10th gives a commanding public persona. These individuals often hold roles of responsibility in institutions tied to tradition, government, education, spiritual organizations, or law. Their reputation matters deeply, and they often carry a karmic mantle of leadership. Saturn or Mercury in Maga leads to slow, structured growth into influential roles. Their careers often involve policy, ethics, and organizational preservation. They may be strategists, judges, administrators, or scholars guiding institutions forward. Talent themes: governance, education reform, traditional leadership, policy, heritage preservation. Shadow side: status anxiety, resistance to change, conflict with younger peers, burnout from public expectations. Understanding the active nakshatras. Chitra, ruled by Mars and symbolized by a bright jewel or shining pearl, is an active nakshatra of vision, creation, and action-driven beauty. It combines artistry with engineering, mysticism with precision. As an active nakshatra, Chitra is constantly building, be it a structure, a body of knowledge, or a new identity. Its power lies in taking raw energy and refining it into something tangible and brilliant. When planets fall here in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses, the native is driven to manifest beauty, command precision, and lead through impactful design. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: constructive speech, aesthetic intelligence, manual dexterity, visual learning. Sun in Chitra 3rd gives a commanding voice with stylistic flair. These individuals often use visuals, metaphors, or structured presentations to influence and impress. Their communication is marked by a desire to shine and build a legacy through media, design, or architecture. Mars in Chitra empowers practical skill and physical dexterity. These natives are hands-on creators, architects, builders, artisans, or martial artists. They act with precision and are driven to beautify, improve, or reform their immediate environment. Mercury in Chitra produces articulate, visually oriented minds. They excel in technical writing, graphic design, editing, architecture, or media. Their speech is sharp, their logic refined, and they often master language as both a craft and a tool. Talent themes: design, sculpting, creative systems, precise writing, martial performance. Shadow side: overcompetitiveness, stylistic overcompensation, critical tone with peers. Fifth house, creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression, structured creativity, bold artistic vision, aesthetic discipline. Sun or Jupiter in Chitra, fifth, channels a creative force that is majestic, dramatic, and morally directed. These individuals express themselves through design, classical performance, or ceremonial art. They often become educators in visual or ritual-based systems. Venus in Chitra crafts a refined, sensual intelligence. It blesses the native with a gift for fashion, interior aesthetics, dance, or cinematic direction. Their creative process is methodical, and they thrive in producing timeless beauty with intricate structure. Talent themes: classical arts, stage direction, costume design, sacred geometry, cinematic storytelling. Shadow side: perfectionism in art, need for constant praise, theatrical ego clashes. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression, sacred artistry, philosophical structure, spiritual design. Sun or Saturn in Chitra, ninth, manifests a desire to build or preserve temples, physical or ideological. These individuals respect tradition but want to refine it, often by bringing beauty, order, and precision into spiritual or academic systems. Mars in Chitra here is the sacred architect, the one who acts to preserve culture through design or teaching. Their dharma lies in bringing mystical truths into structured form, such as building shrines, publishing texts, or founding institutions. Talent themes: temple architecture, ritual instruction, vastu, academic aesthetics, sacred philosophy. Shadow side: dogmatic aesthetics, judgmental moral lens, resistance to spiritual spontaneity, 10th house. Career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: visible creation, artistic leadership, institutional refinement. Sun in Chitra, 10th, pushes for excellence in visible roles. These individuals rise as designers, surgeons, architects, judges, or media professionals, where beauty and structure must meet. They take pride in their legacy and professional polish. Saturn or Mercury in Chitra leads to careers in legal design, critical industries, policy architecture, or systems engineering. The native is recognized for their ability to balance order and creativity. Their contribution lies in reshaping outdated frameworks through applied beauty and intellect. Talent themes: architecture, editing, judiciary, brand aesthetics, creative strategy. Shadow side: work obsession, image dependency, rejection of non-structured approaches, elitist tendencies. Understanding the active nakshatras, Vishaka. Vishaka, ruled by Jupiter and symbolized by a triumphal arch, is an active nakshatra of focused ambition, persuasive charm, and unstoppable will. It represents the gateway between desire and accomplishment, energizing planets with a drive to succeed, overcome opposition, and channel intensity toward growth. Vishaka is not subtle in its action. It seeks results, respect, and recognition. When planets occupy this nakshatra in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses, the native is propelled to lead, compete, and convert vision into personal or collective triumph. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: strategic speech, persuasive courage, competitive communication, leadership through dialogue. Sun in Vishaka 3rd makes the native a commanding communicator. They speak with clarity, purpose, and an innate sense of power. Their words open doors, influence outcomes, and often lead movements, especially in legal, motivational, or political contexts. Mars in Vishaka intensifies the desire to prove oneself through action. It produces a warrior-like communicator, someone who speaks with conviction and defends their ideas fiercely. Debate, athletic commentary, or strategic consultation suits this energy well. Mercury in Vishaka turns the mind into a tactical instrument. These natives are skilled negotiators, charismatic influencers, or strategic writers. They communicate to win and may use storytelling or rhetoric as tools of persuasion. Talent themes: debate, advocacy, public relations, legal argument, motivational speaking. Shadow side: manipulative speech, verbal domination, over-assertiveness with peers. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: competitive learning, visionary creativity, bold intellectual exploration. Sun or Jupiter in Vishaka 5th brings an intense hunger to learn, teach, and excel. These individuals may shine as scholars, orators, or artists who use their work to challenge, inspire, and lead. Their intelligence is amplified through competition and recognition. Venus in Vishaka channels creative energy into drama, design, and public performance. These natives are charming, bold, and often drawn to partnerships or group projects that test and refine their aesthetic vision. Their art is often about power, devotion, or transformation. Talent themes: competitive arts, creative coaching, intellectual games, political theater, educational reform. Shadow side: ego-driven creativity, envy in group dynamics, compulsive need to win or outperform. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: philosophical conquest, belief-based leadership, spiritual ambition. Sun or Saturn in Vishaka, ninth, fuels the desire to be seen as a leader of thought. These natives gravitate toward institutions where they can assert control over belief systems, religious orders, educational institutions, or spiritual organizations. Their dharma is bold, sometimes disruptive, but focused on expansion. Mars in Vishaka energizes the pursuit of truth through conflict and clarity. These individuals are not content with inherited wisdom. They test it, challenge it, and if needed, reinvent it. Their faith is hard-earned, and their teaching style is rigorous. Talent themes: religious leadership, philosophy of war, political theology, spiritual mentorship. Shadow side: intolerance of opposing beliefs, harsh spiritual criticism, power struggles with gurus. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: goal-focused leadership, public recognition, high-stakes decision-making. Sun in Vishaka, 10th, produces leaders who thrive in visible roles: politics, law, corporate strategy, or motivational professions. Their authority is marked by charisma, competition, and a desire to win respect through public success. Saturn or Mercury in Vishaka channels ambition into long-term achievement. These individuals may begin humbly, but rise steadily by mastering systems and asserting intellectual or moral authority. Their careers often involve diplomacy, ethics, media, or education. Talent themes: leadership roles, legal reform, strategic planning, career consultancy, competitive administration. Shadow side: obsession with status, public rivalries, manipulation and authority, burnout from overachievement. Understanding the active nakshatras, Jeshtha, ruled by Mercury and symbolized by an earring or protective talisman, is an active nakshatra of seniority, strategic protection, and psychological dominance. Its energy is sharp, penetrating, and often concealed behind a composed surface. Jeshtha natives are not just doers, they are commanders, protectors, and survivors. As an active nakshatra, it channels intensity through leadership under pressure and silent strength. When planets occupy this nakshatra in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses, the native becomes a capable crisis handler, an intellectual guardian, or a hidden force of influence. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: tactical intelligence, strategic speech, resilience in communication, verbal authority. Sun in Jyeshtha, 3rd, gives a commanding voice and presence in competitive environments. These individuals speak like leaders, often acting as protectors of team integrity or family legacy. Their communication style is calculated and influential. Mars in Jyeshtha brings high tactical skill and battle readiness into daily interaction. These natives may excel in crisis response, security, sports strategy, or martial arts. Action is disciplined and driven by a desire to remain in control. Mercury in Jyeshtha produces strategic thinkers and communicators. These individuals excel in journalism, espionage, finance, intelligence work, or law. Their words carry hidden meanings and are often used to gain leverage. Talent themes: strategic writing, competitive debate, confidential communication, crisis messaging. Shadow side: manipulative speech, secret keeping, mistrust in peers, verbal power struggles. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: senior knowledge, mental discipline, protective creativity, psychological depth. Sun or Jupiter in Jyeshtha, 5th, results in a deep, structured intellect. These natives express themselves with maturity and gravitas, often in fields requiring senior judgment, such as philosophy, political theory, or sacred sciences. Their creativity carries weight and subtle authority. Venus in Jyeshtha expresses artistic ability through emotionally charged, symbolic, or hidden themes. Art becomes a tool of healing or protection with undertones of secrecy, emotional intensity, or inner power. Talent themes: ritual arts, spiritual literature, psycho-emotional storytelling, leadership training. Shadow side: over-control in creative environments, secrecy with children or students, competitive jealousy. 9th house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: inner mastery, sacred protection, deep ethical wisdom, karmic responsibility. Sun or Saturn in Jesh the ninth gives the native a karmic position of spiritual leadership or mentorship. These individuals often guard sacred traditions, hidden knowledge, or ethical principles. They may be found in law, ritual priesthood, esoteric teaching, or elder advisory roles. Mars in Jeshta channels courage into intellectual battles or religious protection. These natives defend belief systems but may also reform them under pressure. Their dharma often involves shielding truth while preparing for moral confrontation. Talent themes: advanced ritual practices, sacred law, protective priesthood, guardian of oral traditions. Shadow side: spiritual arrogance, intolerance toward alternative beliefs, karmic entanglements with gurus or mentors. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: executive authority, crisis leadership, strategic visibility, legacy through secrecy. Sun in Jyeshta, 10th, produces powerful, authoritative figures who rise through complex systems. They are often appointed to lead during crisis or conflict, whether in corporate, military, or political environments. Public recognition often comes after significant personal trials. Saturn or Mercury in Jyeshta gives a long, strategically built career based on intelligence, discretion, and responsibility. These natives manage risk, oversee protection, and lead reforms from behind the scenes. Their public contribution lies in silent strength and structured influence. Talent themes: intelligence leadership, legal reform, risk management, governmental secrecy, strategic counsel. Shadow side: power hoarding, hidden enemies, overburdening leadership roles, burnout from moral isolation. Understanding the active nakshatras. Mula. Mula, ruled by Ketu and symbolized by a tied bunch of roots, is an active nakshatra of profound transformation, radical inquiry, and courageous destruction of illusions. It seeks truth beneath the surface, digging, dismantling, and reconfiguring what is false, decayed, or outdated. As an active nakshatra, Mula generates intense momentum toward fundamental change, especially through shock, upheaval, or spiritual breakthrough. When planets occupy this nakshatra in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses, the native becomes a seeker, demolisher, healer, or truth teller, driven to realign life with unshakable core values. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: courageous speech, raw expression, investigative skill, instinctive intelligence. Sun in Mula, 3rd, creates a communicator who leads by revealing uncomfortable truths. These individuals speak to dismantle ignorance, often exposing lies or challenging dominant narratives. Their communication has an uncompromising spiritual or ethical tone. Mars in Mula gives sharp hands and raw physical courage. These natives are action-oriented truth seekers, often martial artists, field medics, explorers, or skilled in activities involving danger, exposure, or karmic urgency. Mercury in Mula channels analytical brilliance with a deep desire to unravel complexity. These natives make incisive researchers, counselors, critics, or reformist writers. They speak from the root of the matter and often challenge collective illusions. Talent themes: research, occult writing, spiritual journalism, healing through truth, crisis intervention. Shadow side: brutal honesty, speech as destruction, difficulty maintaining diplomacy with peers. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, transformational creativity, karmic intelligence, philosophical imagination. Sun or Jupiter in Mula, 5th, produces fierce learners and teachers. These individuals study to liberate, often drawn to sacred texts, philosophy, medicine, or mythology that deconstructs false beliefs and heals generational wounds. Venus in Mula gives a complex artistic temperament. The creative expression often emerges from personal trauma, karmic experience, or ancestral pain. Art becomes a tool for catharsis, justice, or mystical transmission. Talent themes: transformative teaching, mythological storytelling, karmic healing arts, sacred theater. Shadow side: creative volatility, intensity with children or students, resistance to superficial or conventional learning. Higher learning and belief system. Core expression: radical philosophy, karmic spiritual path, belief through disillusionment. Sun or Saturn in Mula, 9th, represents a demolisher of false dogma. These individuals are called to tear down inherited belief systems and pursue truth through spiritual purification. They may walk lonely paths: teachers, exorcists, mystics, or sacred rebels. Mars in Mula ignites a fierce dharma, one marked by pilgrimages, near-death awakenings, or philosophical combat. These natives protect truth not through sentiment, but through ruthless alignment to what is spiritually essential. Talent themes: philosophy of destruction, spiritual surgery, tantric studies, sacred geography, death rituals. Shadow side: rejection of guidance, spiritual arrogance, karmic entanglements with mentors or holy sites. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core public transformation, karmic leadership, raw service, systemic cleansing. Sun in Mula, 10th, gives a fearless public identity. These individuals rise through crises, often drawn to professions involving reform, exposure, healing, or rebuilding. They dismantle broken systems and establish cleaner foundations. Saturn or Mercury in Mula builds a career of consequence. These natives often serve through spiritual consultation, crisis management, legal correction, or ancestral healing. Their public path is not easy, but deeply impactful. Talent themes: institutional reform, karmic legal service, spiritual healing professions, forensic analysis. Shadow side: public scrutiny, career upheaval, burnout from emotional intensity, resistance to authority or norms. Understanding the active nakshatras, Purva Ashadha. Purva Ashadha, ruled by Venus and symbolized by an elephant tusk or a winnowing basket, is an active nakshatra of conviction, persuasion, and undefeated spirit. It represents the energy of internal purification through struggle and the unwavering pursuit of victory. This nakshatra combines emotional drive with philosophical ambition, fueled by the will to rise, reform, and inspire. As an active nakshatra, it channels vitality into belief systems, ideals, and creativity with intensity and flair. Planets placed here in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses give the native a passionate urge to advocate, campaign, lead, and transform through eloquent power and emotional clarity. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: inspirational speech, persuasive communication, resilience through struggle, emotional boldness. Sun in Purva Ashadha, 3rd, gives a voice of leadership and moral persuasion. These natives often become spokespeople, educators, or motivational leaders whose words are shaped by personal conviction and spiritual depth. Mars in Purva Ashadha fuels fearless expression, often through writing, public advocacy, or energetic campaigns. These individuals may take on controversial or idealistic causes, communicating with zeal and moral fire. Mercury in Purva Ashadha creates charismatic, confident, and strategic communicators. These individuals are gifted in negotiation, media, sales, or teaching, using emotional intelligence and idealism to move others toward shared goals. Talent themes: motivational speaking, idealistic writing, spiritual or legal advocacy, emotionally resonant storytelling. Shadow side: preachiness, argumentative tone, inability to accept criticism or compromise in conversations. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, passionate learning, visionary creativity, expressive leadership. Sun or Jupiter in Purva Ashadha, 5th, bestows a thirst for meaningful learning and an ability to shine through intellectual or artistic expression. These natives lead from the heart and often inspire younger generations with their moral clarity or cultural depth. Venus in Purva Ashadha creates a dramatic, sensual, and refined creative energy. These individuals may be drawn to literature, film, poetry, or activism, where beauty and justice merge in artistic expression. Talent themes: emotional theater, inspirational education, social justice art, devotional storytelling. Shadow side: intensity in love or mentorship, performance anxiety, creative over-identification with belief systems. 9th house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, idealistic philosophy, spiritual reform, faith through resilience. Sun or Saturn in Purva Ashadha, 9th, drives the native to question and rebuild belief systems. These individuals may have strong opinions on law, ethics, or cultural identity, and feel compelled to influence through teaching, debate, or religious leadership. Mars in Purva Ashadha ignites philosophical courage. These natives act on their convictions, often defending sacred ideas, challenging injustice, or initiating reform. Their faith is battle-tested, and they don't hesitate to confront hypocrisy. Talent themes: sacred law, dharmic activism, cultural or spiritual diplomacy, moral strategy. Shadow side: dogmatic thinking, spiritual righteousness, clashes with authority, moral rigidity. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: leadership with integrity, public persuasion, career through belief and clarity. Sun in Purva Ashadha 10th marks a public figure whose path is defined by honor, clarity, and a mission to uplift or inspire. These individuals may rise in education, politics, healing professions, or justice movements, known for standing firm in their principles. Saturn or Mercury in Purva Ashadha creates a long-term career based on public trust and visionary leadership. These natives excel in law, education, writing, counseling, or policy, especially where emotional intelligence and integrity are crucial. Talent themes: spiritual or legal leadership, ethical business, motivational careers, cross-cultural or global service. Shadow side: career idealism, burnout from high moral expectations, emotional entanglement with public perception or causes. Understanding the active nakshatras. Uttara Ashadha, ruled by the sun and symbolized by the elephant tusk or planks of a bed, is an active nakshatra of long-term victory, disciplined excellence, and unshakable dharma. Known as the later victory star, it imparts a steady, righteous, and enduring force. This nakshatra channels action into structure, service, and societal reform, favoring efforts that withstand time. As an active nakshatra, it expresses power through ethical leadership, collective upliftment, and noble responsibility. When planets occupy Uttara Ashadha in the 3rd, 5th, 9th, or 10th houses, the native often rises as a wise reformer, duty-bound leader, or architect of institutions. 3rd house, skills, talent, communication. Core expression, disciplined speech, righteous action, structured intelligence, long-term skill mastery. Sun in Uttara Ashadha, 3rd, channels authority into communication. These individuals speak with clarity, purpose, and moral weight. Their words often lead movements, resolve disputes, or bring structure to disordered systems. Mars in Uttara Ashadha brings purposeful energy to manual skill and willpower. These natives act with moral intent and long-term goals, thriving in military, training, legal defense, or technical fields where action must align with principle. Mercury in Uttara Ashadha refines speech into a disciplined tool. These individuals are natural educators, legal advisors, or policy drafters. They bring clarity, structure, and ethical focus to communication. Talent themes: ethical debate, legal or constitutional writing, administrative communication, structured training. Shadow side: rigid speech patterns, inflexibility in negotiations, over-attachment to traditional viewpoints. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, responsible creativity, principled learning, sustained intellectual legacy. Sun or Jupiter in Uttara Ashadha 5th emphasizes learning as a sacred duty. These individuals take education seriously and often become respected teachers, scholars, or thought leaders. They may view creativity as a means to uplift society. Venus in Uttara Ashadha shapes art into a disciplined offering. These natives produce creative work with maturity, refinement, and social impact. Their aesthetics are often tied to cultural heritage, sacred duty, or righteous causes. Talent themes: ethical literature, cultural reform through art, long-form education, value-based storytelling. Shadow side: perfectionism, emotional detachment in creative expression, didactic tone in learning spaces. 9th house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression, dharma in action, ethical doctrine, spiritual leadership, institutional faith. Sun or Saturn in Uttara Ashadha, 9th, creates a protector of truth and tradition. These individuals are serious about philosophy and belief, often rising to guide communities, mentor younger seekers, or establish institutions rooted in lasting values. Mars in Uttara Ashadha turns the pursuit of truth into active service. These natives become defenders of law, educators of justice, or warriors of spiritual principle, taking belief into the field, the courtroom, or the classroom. Talent themes: ethical law, principled activism, religious education, institutional reform. Shadow side: moral absolutism, rejection of nuance, emotional rigidity, and philosophical discourse. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: enduring leadership, structured authority, visible responsibility, collective upliftment. Sun in Uttara Ashadha, 10th, gives public prominence rooted in character. These individuals lead through integrity, policy, or institution building. They are called to high offices in law, governance, education, or humanitarian work. Saturn or Mercury in Uttara Ashadha enables disciplined growth in public life. These natives are system builders, patient, reliable, and committed to long-term reform. Their authority may not come early, but it lasts and stabilizes what others start. Talent themes: lawmaking, policy drafting, public administration, ethical leadership, academic excellence. Shadow side, career delays due to moral overthinking, burnout from duty, emotional suppression in professional settings.